Oh, goody, I'll kick us away then.
Thanks, Justin.
Obviously, an amazing win last week. How do you go about trying to carry that momentum forward into Monday night?
Yeah, look, I think we got some enormous belief out of last week, especially in some of our method and the way we played. And I've said this a bit. It's not about who we play; it's how we play. And last week sort of typified exactly the way we wanted to play. And the important thing now is to continue to build on that momentum. I felt like our game was getting back into some shape that is in really good shape. But the challenges keep coming, and we need to keep improving.
And it was the first time in quite a while where that forward line really clicked. Was there anything that you did last week that was a bit different, that kind of work that you hadn't been doing in previous weeks?
We've been working incredibly hard on building that cohesion and chemistry forward to centre, and I think the more those guys play together, I think Ben Brown's continuing to compete to a really high level and having an impact for us. But the more those guys play together, and the more cohesion that we have down there, the better we're going to become. And they're putting in a hell of a lot of work, and it's starting to come out.
And how's Paul McDonald? What were his chances of playing?
Yeah, look, he's still day by day. He hasn't done a lot so far. We've always had a longer break. So we'll assess him today. He's got some training that he's got to do today, tick that box and continue to move forward towards Monday. But we'll keep assessing him. We're really hopeful that he'll get up. He's quietly confident in his own mind that he'll be available, and we'll see how he goes.
If he doesn't, does it just Wiedemann come in? Is that a straight swap there?
Look, it's certainly an option for us. There's no doubt about that. Sam's here, he's in good form. But as I said, we're quietly confident that Tom will get through his training and be ready to go.
Cool, thanks.
Goody, what is the actual issue with Tom's back?
He had a hit to his lower back, and it was a bit of a back spasm, so a little bit disky. Just seized up throughout the game and got worse and worse. So, as I said, those disky type injuries take some time to settle, but they're day by day things. So he's feeling better and better all the time. He'll do some light work today at training. And as I said, we're really hopeful by the end of the week that he'll be ready to go.
Did everyone from last week's game travel over?
Yeah, we ended up bringing 30 players over with us. Obviously, when you come to Perth, you can't get people over if you need them, so we wanted to take no risk, bring a group over that could get selected for the team, but also provide us with some quality training sessions. So we've got a squad of 30, so we've obviously picked 26 in the team last night, so the majority of the team will come from there.
And how's Jack coped? Obviously been rubbed up but then still stuck in quarantine.
Yeah, look, it's a different experience for Jack. Jack's he's a high quality person, Jack. I can't speak highly enough of him. Clearly he's made a mistake. He's owned it. He's taken responsibility for it, and he wants to move forward. He knows it wasn't a great look for the game. Obviously now he's stuck in quarantine, and his total focus is getting some good training in and getting some form of match simulation training into him so he can continue to prepare for what's ahead. But he knows he's made a mistake, but he's a high quality person.
Goody, I wondered, what was your impression when you saw the footage of that incident with Jack and what happened?
Yeah, obviously, Jack plays in a way that's really in and under and tough. And clearly when you look at that, it's not a great look for the game. And he knows that himself, and he's owned that. He said he's overstepped the mark, and he'd do it differently and better. He certainly wasn't out there to cause any harm to Sam. He's a competitor, and he knows he's made a mistake. So obviously when you look at it, it's not a great look, and it's the AFL have identified that and they want to get it out of the game, which has got the support of everyone.
Who do you look to bring in for him?
Obviously in the squad we've picked, we've got Vandenberg, Melksham and obviously James Jordan, who was the sub last week. They're three midfielders that can come in and play his role. So we've got training today. We've still got a fair bit of time until Monday night's game. So we'll assess how they train and finalise our team tomorrow.
And Luke Jackson, he's never taken on Nick Natanui. What sort of learning experience do you think that will be for him?
Oh, it's great, isn't it? When you come up against the best ruckman in the competition, I think you got Max and Nick who are high quality. It's going to be a great contest, and obviously Luke's going to support Max in that role. So for Luke's development, I think it's a great opportunity for him to come up against a really, really high quality ruckman, and he's looking forward to it. They actually play quite similar. They're probably a little bit different in size at the moment, but they do play very similar. They're both disruptors around the contest areas and have high impact at ground level.
And his first half last week was amazing as well. How much confidence did he get from that?
Yeah, look, he's been wanting to hit the scoreboard for a little while. You know, he's a key forward and he plays a fair bit down there, and just his ability and his confidence to take some marks and hit the scoreboard is really important for us. So he took a lot out of the weekend. He was probably in a little bit of a slump in form in terms of the way he was playing, but he worked his way through it, and I think that's great learning and development for a younger player to be able to go through those situations, have some pressure starting to build both externally and internally around his game, but then to come out and perform, I thought was outstanding.
And when you analyse West Coast, how do you go about it? Because their best is really good, but when they're bad, they're just really bad.
Oh, look, they're a completely different proposition when they play at home. You know, they're a very mature team. If you look at their team, they've got some high quality players right throughout every area of the ground, and you know, in Perth, you know, they play some really strong footy. So we certainly know what we're up against. You know, they're in the top 8 for a reason. They've played enough good footy to challenge teams and to challenge the best teams, and we're going to have to be right at our best on the road in a really hostile environment to get the result.
Buddy, how does this week, I suppose, impact on your preparation, given you're not at Joondalup, you're not in the resort with free space and things? How have the guys handled sort of being cooped up, I suppose, in a hotel for most of the week?
Well, it's good, Katie, because we were in the Mercure for 3 days and we've just got to Joondalup. We did a switch with Brisbane, so it's good to get some fresh air, that's for sure. But it's certainly not going to affect our preparation. Our players have taken everything in their stride over the last 18 months. You know, whether it's lockdowns, whether it's quarantine, whether it's, you know, playing in different situations, they've just handled everything that's come their way, and that typified that last week with their travel arrangements and how things changed and the game changed. So we're just dealing with what comes our way. It's good to have some fresh air at Joondalup and obviously train today. So we're looking forward to that, but it won't impact our preparation one bit.
In some funny way, I don't know whether it could, but could it actually, obviously this trip hasn't been one that you guys have enjoyed the last few times you've done it. In some ways, can it, in a way, help, I suppose, to change that up?
Oh, look, we identified this a few weeks ago. You know, our boys have been in Melbourne a lot throughout the year, and they've been in lockdown, and that's challenges in itself in Victoria, to be in lockdown where you train and you go home and you stay in your house. So actually coming away for a week together helps build that connection, spend a lot of time together, which we haven't been able to do in Melbourne. So we're looking at this as more of an opportunity of what we can create while we're here, and just watching the boys interact in the last few days, it's been brilliant. You know, the way they've gone about building some of that connection and spending some time together. They're loving it.
You've managed to escape the start of the lockdown 6.0 here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
How has that news filtered through to you guys? I mean, you've got a couple of days over there, which is probably not a bad thing, but then you've got to come back into a lockdown. I assume you're flying back pretty soon after the game. Yeah,
we are. We're flying back on Monday night after the game. So I think when you hear the news, you just feel for everyone in Victoria. You know, everyone's got their challenges. There's no question about that. Right throughout Australia at the moment, but when you see Victorians going to their 6th lockdown, you think of all the businesses, the hospitality industry, all the people that are affected by it. It's challenging for everyone, and your hearts go out to those people. And we're no different. We sit here very privileged to continue to do what we do, but we also have a lot of empathy for the people that are struggling out there. But yeah, we need to move through this in you know, as a nation and get through it as quick as we can and make sure we can get back to some normality.
Just a quick one about the weather. It looks like it might be quite wet on Monday night. How have you guys gone in the wet this year? And we know West Coast have struggled. Do you see that as some sort of advantage?
Oh, yeah, we've played in a lot of sort of dewy, slippery games, wet weather games in the last sort of 8 weeks. Obviously playing a little bit in Melbourne, you get that a lot. So, you know, we're prepared for that. We understand it might be pretty wet, but we're looking forward to that. You know, it doesn't affect the way we play, whether it's dry or wet, so we're looking forward to that.